So once again, good afternoon, grade 11 and Miggy. We come up with the last of the lessons in our pre-finals, which is talking about empirical and molecular formula. Let's understand first the difference between empirical formula and molecular formula. When you talk about empirical formula class, it's the formula of a compound with the smallest whole number mole ratio of the elements. It is seen from the subscripts of your element in the said molecule. Whereas when you talk about molecular formula, it's the complete set of atoms present in a given molecule. The simpler version of a molecular formula is an empirical formula, which means that if you're going to expand an empirical formula, the result is also the molecular formula. Comparing the molecule of hydrogen peroxide class, the molecule of hydrogen peroxide or the molecular formula of hydrogen peroxide is H2O2. But the empirical formula of hydrogen peroxide is just HO. How is that possible? Since the subscript of oxygen and hydrogen is now divisible by 2, so reduce the subscript of hydrogen and oxygen by dividing both values by 2, you have then the empirical formula as HO. And empirical formula will give you the simplest ratio of the atoms present in the said molecule. However, when you talk about the molecular formula, it's the complete set of atoms present in the given molecule. For example, glucose. Glucose has a molecular formula of C6H12O6. Again, the molecular formula of glucose is C6 C6 laro ba? Well, C6H12O6. That is the molecular formula of glucose. But when you talk about the empirical formula of glucose, it's just CH2O. Compare the difference between the molecular formula and the empirical formula class. Since 6, 12, and 6 have a common factor which is 6, so why not divide both or the three of the values by 6? Ergo, you'll have the simplified ratio 1 is to 2 is to 1 for the atoms of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen respectively. So that's the difference between molecular formula and empirical formula. There's an advantage on Migi this time because we had this in our Gen Chem 2, but I hope you can still recall, Migi, of how to perform molecular and empirical formula computation. Question before we proceed. Again, the difference between a molecular formula and an empirical formula. The simplified form of the formula in that said compound is empirical formula. The complete set of atoms present in a given molecule is molecular formula. Please do not interchange the two terms and do not also use it wrongly in a sentence, in a certain sentence. Let me share to you a certain poem. This poem will be our basis in understanding the computation of empirical and molecular formula. The poem goes like this. Wait. Percent to mass to mole, divide by small the divide by small, multiply till whole. Again, the poem goes like this. Percent to mass to moles, divide by small, multiply till whole. This is always my basis of how I understand empirical and molecular formula. So from percent composition, convert that to mass. And if the given mass is already present, then change that given mass to moles. And that is our lesson one and two, is it? Of pre-finals. Then after that, divide by small. The meaning of which is divide every moles by the least value. And then if the result is a decimal, then multiply till whole, which means if your decimal is 1.5 moles, then divide it, multiply it by 2 to make it a whole number, which is 3. Or round off it to make it equal to an integral value like 1.01 is just equal to 1 mole. Let's try an example. We have here, determine the empirical formula of methyl acetate, which has the following chemical analysis: 48.64 grams of carbon, 8.16% of hydrogen, and 42.2% oxygen. Of course, we can determine the molecular formula of methyl acetate following the name itself, methyl plus acetate. Methyl is CH4, or rather CH3. Acetate is, in your periodic table, we have the acetate found in the anions part with the molecular formula of C2H3O2. Combine methyl and acetate, you'll get the empirical formula, or rather the molecular formula of methyl acetate. But this time, we will not just simply jump onto conclusion that the formula is this and that, but we will just focus on what is the given in the problem. If the total mass of the molecule is not present, assume that the molecule given is at 100 gram sample. Of course, how will you determine the 100-gram sample? If you are going to add all the percentage composition, that will always equal to 100%. 100%. And that is also what we're going to base so that we will get uh, a valid, valid, a valid comparison between the percent composition with respect to the mass of the certain carbo element. Like for example, 48.64% of carbon in a 100-gram sample will just simply get 48.64 grams of carbon. 8.16% of hydrogen in a 100-gram sample is just simply equal to 8.16 grams. So with oxygen to have 43.2 grams. Again, that is not the molecular mass, the molar mass of methyl acetate, but that is just simply the mass of a 100-gram sample. Where did we get the 100-gram sample, class? This is not given, but let's just assume that if the mass of the sample is not given, we will use the base 100 mass or the 100-gram mass sample. Question before we proceed? None. So this is now the first step in finding the empirical and the molecular formula, as in the poem says, percent to mass. Step number 2 is mass to mole. So from the given mass, let's convert it to moles. So mass to moles has the conversion. 1 mole of carbon is equal to 12 grams of carbon, as the mass of carbon is 12 grams per 1 mole. Since you are going to convert it to mole, so 1 mole of carbon is equal to 12 grams of the said element, which is carbon. There's a question from Alan. He says, should it always be 100 grams? Yes, if we have no mass of the molecule given, or if there's no mass of the molecule given. Can it be 1,000? Yes. Can it be 10? Yes. Can it be 50? Yes. Again, there is always a possibility that the mass is any of these values. However, for us not to provide with any other numbers, let's just consider on the 100-gram sample. Para the percentage composition can just simply the mass given the percentage composition can just be simply derived from. Sir, is it not possible? Again, it is always pegged at 100%, 100-gram sample. But if you wish to use any other masses, that is still fine. So for example, you'll have 200-gram sample. So your mass of carbon here in the molecule is instead of 48, that could be 96, rather 97.28 grams. But if you still go back to how the computation of moles, it will be still having the same answer. Let's try later. Anyway, we'll have the answer as of this example derived from, but if you wish to use another mass, we'll have to try it then again later. So let's have this one as an example. Okay, for the conversion of mass to moles, we have 48 gram of the sample, and in every mole of carbon, you'll have 12 grams. In your module class, I use the mass of 12.011, no? Instead of 12 only. So just don't mind it, class. In our exam, we'll just have to use the whole number for carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen, respectively, as 12 for carbon, 16 for oxygen, 14 for nitrogen, 1 for hydrogen. So in this case, we have 1 mole of carbon is 12 grams. So 48 divided by 12 is 4.053 moles. One it 1 mole of hydrogen is equal to 1.01 grams or 1 gram. So we have here 8.08 mole. And for every 1 mole of oxygen, you have 16 grams of oxygen. 43 divided by 16, you'll get 2.7 mole. Question before we proceed? So this is now step number 1. Step number 1, percent to mass. Step number 2, mass to mole. Step number 3 is divide by small. Step number 3 literally means you divide it by the smaller molar value. Between 4.053, 8.08, and 2.7, the least mole value is 2.7. So divide every mole value by the least amount, which is 2.7. So your solution there goes with 4.5053 divided by 2.7 is 1.501 or 1.5. 8.08 divided by 2.7 is 2.99 or 3. And 2.7 divided by 2.7 is equal to 1. The values 1, 3, and 1.5 are our subscripts of the elements carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen respectively. Again, step number 1, percent to mass. Step number 2, mass to mole. Step number 3, divide by small. What is step number 4? Multiply till whole. You notice, class, that the value 1.5 is not yet a whole number. You don't have the molecule C1.5H3O1 as your molecular or rather empirical formula. Empirical formula goes with the subscripts of your element in integer with smallest ratio possible. And how are you going to make it a whole number? That's step number 4 then. Multiply till whole. Since 1.5 can be made into a whole number by multiplying it by 2, or for us to easily find a value that we are going to multiply, let's try to change it to a fraction. 1.5 is 3 halves. So to eliminate the fraction of 3 halves, or to eliminate the denominator, we'll multiply it with whatever the value of your denominator, which is 2. And that value to be multiplied by 2 to 1.5 will also be the same multiplier to the other subscripts 3 and 1. So for carbon 1.5, hydrogen 3, and oxygen 1, every value here will be multiplied by 2. So 1.5 is 3. 1.5 times 2 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 times 2 is 2. Therefore, the final empirical formula of the molecule methyl acetate is C3H6O2. Question? Should it always be multiplied by 2? Here we go again, the same question. Should we always multiply this by 2? You can multiply it with any value you like. You can multiply this by 4. You can multiply this by 7. You can multiply this by 8. But since we are talking about empirical formula, the least value that we can come up is 2. Let's try to multiply every value here by 4, class. Let's multiply this by 4. Now, if you multiply this by 4, what is the result? 6, 12, and 4. Tama? So if that is your formula, C6H12O6, O4, is this an empirical formula? An empirical formula should be that the denominators, rather the subscript of your element should be in its simplest ratio. Since 6, 12, and 4 can still be simplified by dividing it by 2 with a common denominator of 6, 12, and 4, so we have C3H6O2, which is our answer. Sir, is it always 2? Again, this is dependent on your decimal value. For you to know how to change the decimal to a whole number, and for you to choose the exact value of your multiplier, express this in fraction. So for us to eliminate the denominator, which is 2, the multiplier there will be 2. True to all. Para ma-cancel na siya. And then the rest will also be affected by the 2, making it 2 times 3, which is 6. 2 times 1, which is 2. 2 times 1.5 is now 3, which is this one. Clarifications, more clarifications. Again, any value is possible. But since the question is talking about empirical formula, then we'll have to use the least value that will make the decimal a whole number. There are only three possible decimals that we are going to credit and have it as it is for us to come up with a whole number. You can only have it as 0.25, 0.5, and 0.75. If your decimal is 0.1, then round it up to the nearest whole number. If your decimal is 0.8, then round it up to the nearest whole number. So for example, your decimal is 1.89. Now you can just round it off to 2.0. But if you wish to make this as an issue again and make it a decimal, so you can just have it as 189 over 100. Then multiply everything by 100. You'll get the whole number there, which is 189. Any value is possible again, but dependent on what the decimal is being mentioned in the final answer, shall we then choose our value to be multiplied such that we follow the last step in the poem, multiply till whole. We multiply the decimal until it will become a whole number. If the decimal is in the 0.5 or 0.75, our multiplier is 4. If multiple decimals, sir, what do you mean by multiple decimals, Miggy?
Like C 1.5, H 2.2, like that.
2.2 can be rounded down to 2.
What about if the O? What if all the elements have decimal values?
And then you'll multiply that decimal until you'll reach the simplest integral ratio, which is a whole number. Even if it will take you a very long solution to come up with a value to be multiplied until it will become a whole numbers, then go on with your solution. Any other concerns? Anyway, we will have an example. If in case that will come out, then we'll go and answer that example then. Shall we say we'll have it answered once the problem exists? Clarifications. So we have here step number 1 again. Change the percent to mass. Change the mass to moles. Then the number of moles, choose the least value. Divide it to the moles of the different elements. And then from the ratio of each moles, if they are not expressed in whole numbers, then multiply a value such that it will come up with the least whole number possible for each element in the molecule. Thus, you'll have that as your empirical formula. Question for this solution or this problem? Let's try an example in your module. Let's solve one item in your module. There are actually examples here, class, that you can follow, like here. Change the percent to mass. Example number 2. Change the percent to mass. Change the mass to mole. Then divide each mole by the least possible value. This time around, when we divide every mole by 1.409, which is this one, 1.409 divided by 1.409 is 1. 3.523 divided by 1.409 is 2.5. At this point, we have a decimal subscript of oxygen, which is 2.5. And if we come up with a fraction of 2.5, that is 5 halves. So we're now going to multiply every value by 2 to eliminate the denominator, which is 2. So we have here 1 times 2 is 2. 2.5 times 2 is 5. So the final subscript is now 2 and 5 for oxygen, for phosphorus and oxygen respectively. So much for another example. Maybe after we discuss molecular formula, we will have an example or we choose a problem here. Let's try to use number 1 as an example. Let's try to double check, class, if 17.6, 39.7, and 52.8 resolves to 100%. Is it 100%? 17.6, 39.7, and 52.8. It's 110. 110. No, it's not. So it's 110. Let's try. Maybe I wrongly typed that item for a while. Let's try number 2. 10.89, 31.77 plus 57.34. Let's try number 2, class, because the percentage composition of each element is exactly 100%. I'm not sure which part I made a mistake in number 1. I'll double check my original file here, class, if that is a typo, or if not, if this is the original percentage composition, then probably we'll use that given then. Let's try number 2 then. For the first step, change the percent to mass. So magnesium in this percentage composition, which is 10.89, will have 10.89 grams. So change the percent composition to mass. And what is your basis? You'll use the 100-gram sample. So 100 times 10% or 0.0189 is 10.89 grams. For chlorine, on the other hand, for chlorine with 31.77%, so chlorine will have 31.77 grams. And lastly, for oxygen, we have 57.34%. So the mass of oxygen in a 100-gram sample is 57.34 grams. That is the first step, change the percent to mass. Second step, change the mass to mole. So in every 10.89 grams in the sample, multiply that to 1 mole, 1 mole of magnesium is equal to, how many grams of magnesium are there present in 1 mole? That's 24.31 or 24.3. 24.31, yeah. 24.31 grams. So divide 10.89 by 24.31. You'll have the decimal value 0.44796 is 80 already. Mole. Continue with chlorine. Chlorine with a mass of 31.77 in the sample. And the mass of 1 mole of chlorine is equal to 35.45 grams. Divide 31.77 by 35.45, you'll get the decimal value 0.89619. So that is 62. Follow? Lastly, for oxygen with 57.34 grams of oxygen present in the sample, and in every mole of oxygen, we have 16 grams of oxygen. Divide 57.36 by 16. You'll get the answer 3.585 mole. Please double check my computation if I am wrong or I did it right. So this is 0.4408 mole of magnesium. This one is the moles of chlorine. And here, the moles of oxygen. All right. Okay, so we have now, we're done with step number 2, change the mass to mole. We are now going to proceed with step number 3. So step number 3 for oxygen this time, let's start with choosing the least value of the 3 moles, and that is 0.44. So let's start with magnesium pala, not oxygen. So for magnesium, we have 0.4480 divided by 0.4480. The result there is equal to 1. Following that value is chlorine. So for chlorine, you have 0.8962 divided by 0.4480. The result is 2.0004 or 2.0 or 2. And lastly, for oxygen, with the number of moles 3.585 divided by 0.4480, the answer there is 8.002 or just simply equal to 8. So there you have now the values which are in exactly whole numbers. I say exactly because the decimal values of 2 and 8 are nearly closer to 0. Therefore, the empirical formula of the molecule in number 2 with the subscripts that will represent the result of dividing the moles of each element, we have magnesium with 1, so you need not to write 1. with chlorine having the subscript of 2, with oxygen having the subscript of 8. So there you have now your answer in number 2. The formula for magnesium chlorate is this one. Control B. You can also rewrite this formula into such a way that it will represent really the perchlorate, because this is, I think, perchlorate. So we have here magnesium, open parenthesis, chlorine with a subscript of 1, oxygen with a subscript of 4, and then both of them has a subscript of 2. And that is the exact formula if we really have to change the name magnesium perchlorate to an empirical formula, and that is how it can be written. But since with the idea that this lesson does not specify how we write it basing from the name, but basing from the smallest ratio possible in each mole, so we have the final answer MgCl2O8. Question?
Sir,
Yes, Miguel.
the final answer is Mg parenthesis ClO4 parenthesis 2.
Any. The first one is the best answer in this type of solution. In this lesson that we have right now, we don't need to complicate it by getting the parentheses, right? Whatever that is common between 2 and 8. I can just accept the answer to be MgCl2O8. Anyway, the two of them are just equal to the same number of atoms per molecule or per element. So both of them are acceptable, both of them are correct. Any of the two are possible final answers. So that is empirical formula. Let's go back to the presentation that we had left. Empirical formula is just simply the ang tawag dito? Wait, while. Empirical formula again can be followed by the series of steps, steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 that can be found in the poem we just said. Step number 1 there is percent to mass. Then step number 2, mass to moles. Step number 3, divide by small. Step number 4, multiply till whole. When we are going to change now the the empirical to molecular formula, there's no such a thing as a poem then, but from the empirical formula, we can find the molecular mass of the empirical formula to the molar mass of the given in the experiment to determine the molecular formula. How to do that? Let's try an example. A chemical analysis indicates it is composed of 40.68 carbon, 5.08% of hydrogen, and 52.24% of oxygen, which has a molar mass. That experiment has a molar mass of 118.1 grams per mole. Determine the empirical and the molecular formula of this compound. First, let's determine the empirical formula. Step number 1, percent to mass. So from 40, it will become 40.68 grams. Here, you notice. From 5%, it will become 5.08 grams. From 54%, it became 54.28 grams. Then from grams, that is convert that to mole. 1 mole of carbon is 12 grams of carbon. So that's 3.39 moles. 1 mole of hydrogen is 1.01 grams. So that is 5.03 mole. And 1 mole of oxygen is 16 grams. So 54 divided by 16 is 3.39 mole. Step number 1. Step number 2. Let's try step number 3. Step number 3, divide by small. The smallest ratio of the smallest molar value there is 3.39. So every value here will be divided by 3.39. 3.39 divided by 1 is 1. Or rather, 3.39 divided by 3.39 is 1. 5.03 divided by 3.39 is 1.48, which is somehow equal to or um, how do you call this? Rounded off to the first decimal value, which is 1.5, and 3.39 divided by 3.39 is 1. Notice, class, that 1.5 is a decimal value, so we will make it into the lowest integral value possible by multiplying every values here by 2. So instead of saying C1, H1.5, and O1, multiply every value here by 2, so we can have C2H3O2, the empirical formula of your molecule with the elements C, H, and O. We have now the empirical formula. How to find the molecular formula? Balik ta sa step dire. Step number 1, calculate the empirical formula. We're through with the empirical formula already, which is C2H3O2. We are now going to go to step numbers 2 and 3. Step number 2, given the molecular mass, the experimental molecular mass will be divided by the empirical formula's molecular mass. And then the result, which is the quotient, will be our multiplier to the subscripts of your empirical formula. Just like the same as step number 3 in changing the empirical formula, given that the decimal or given that the subscripts of your element is a decimal value. We have the given molar mass of the experiment. We will divide the given mass by the mass of your empirical formula. And what is that empirical formula? I mean, this value here. So we will now find the molar mass of C2H3O2. Of course, that is simply finding the number of atoms multiplied by the mass per atom. So in C2H3O2, we have 2 atoms of carbon multiplied by 12.01 grams of carbon to get 24.02 grams. 1.008 grams of hydrogen multiplied by 3 atoms of hydrogen, you have this mass. So as with oxygen with 16 times 2, we have 32. So the molar mass of the empirical formula is equal to 59.044, which is now the divisor of the molar mass of the given experiment. The experiment suggests, or the experiment ends up with a molar mass of 118.1. Divide that mass by the empirical formula's mass, you'll get the answer of 2. Is it exactly 2? Let's try. 118.1 divided by 59.044. You'll get the answer 2.0002, which is basically equal to 2. This 2 is our multiplier to our empirical formula. So from the empirical formula C2H3O2, we multiply it by 2 to get the molecular formula of C4H6O4. And there you have the molecular formula, which is C4H6O4, and the empirical formula of C2H3O2. Question? Clarifications? Please address me with your difficulty so that your concerns will be answered. Walang tanong, class. Magaling kayo. Sige, let's try to have an example more. Let's try. Never mind making this as an assignment. How about number 3, class? A compound containing barium, carbon, and oxygen with the following percent composition: 69 for barium, 6 for carbon, and 24.32 for oxygen. What is the empirical formula of the compound? Okay, let us try this problem for 5 minutes. If you can come up with the empirical formula, chat it in the chat box and we'll check your work if that is a wrong answer or a right answer. Time starts now. Everyone, work number 3. Find the empirical formula of the compound. As I am also going to solve it myself here.
Sir Jet, I'll transfer sa to the laptop.
Okay, Mego, okay, Mego. We have answers from Alan, Christopher, and Shan, which are all correct. What about the others? Edson is also correct. By the way, for those who are done, how about give me the name of this element? This molecule. Give me the name of this molecule. Lucia and Vince also are correct. Very good. I think Vince is now typing the name of the answer. Give me the name of this molecule. Bako 3. The name is just barium carbonate, not barium tricarbonate, Alan. That's barium carbonate. So the correct answer is barium carbonate with BaCO3. Huh? The answer is Ba CO3. This is the answer. So if you are going to find the computation or give the computation, we have barium. For barium, we have 69.58 grams divided by 137.3 grams of barium in a 1 mole of barium will give you 0.5068 moles. For carbon, which is 6.09 divided by 12.01 or 12 if you have it there is equal to 5.071. And lastly, for oxygen, which is 24.32 grams divided by 16, you'll get 1.52. So the least value there is 0.05068. So divide this by 0.5068 so that it will be equal to 1. Divide this as well by 0.5068 is still equal to 1. 1.0001 or 1. And 1.52 divided by 0.5068, you'll get the answer 2.999, which is equal to 3. So you have the subscript of barium to be 1, carbon to be 1, oxygen to be 3. Thus, the final answer is barium carbonate or BaCO3. How about the last one? What is the empirical and the molecular formula of vitamin D3 if it contains 84.31% carbon, 11.53% hydrogen, and 4.16% oxygen with a molar mass of 384 grams per mole? You try. And for 2 minutes, let's try to see. 5 minutes, let's try to see if your answers are correct. Both answers must be written in the chat box with the empirical and the molecular formula. Let's say the first 5 that will receive an additional points in the ST of this lesson. First 5 to give me the correct answer will receive an additional points if they're correct, of course, for the ST of this lesson. Go. Sir, is it possible to have a big subscript? Yes. I think Vince is now trying to type his answers. Take note, your answers should be two: empirical and molecular formula. What's your answer, Vince? Nandito pa ba ako? Edson, what's your answer, Edson? You type it here, Edson. Lucia, what's your answer? Not yet? I only have the empirical, sir. Okay, let's see if your empirical is correct. Vince. Give me your empirical, Vince. Vince and Edson, you are correct. Now give me the molecular formula. Your empirical formula is correct. Give me the molecular formula. Alan is correct in both. Very good, Alan. Yes, Miguel. Yes, Miguel. Christopher is correct in both. So isa na lang. We have Alan, Edson, Vince, Christopher. One more. Go, Lucia. Type, Lucia. Go, Lucia. One more. And Lucia type her answer, which is Lucia makes the fifth to receive 2 points for the summative test. And the answer for empirical and molecular formula is the same at 627, H4401. Okay, very good. For Edson is wrong in the empirical, molecular. That's not the molecular, Edson. The molar mass of C27H4401 is 384.622. So divide 384 by 384, the answer is 0.9, which is equal to rounded off to 1. So it's just the same. 1 times the value is the value itself. So the empirical and the molecular formula is just the same. Late naman ko, sir. But you have the correct answer, Miguel. That's good. That's good. I only asked for top 5, Miguel, so sorry for that. Edson will only receive 1 point for giving me a wrong molecular formula. Vince did not give me any molecular formula, so still Vince will receive 2 points. So that is the answer, class. C27H4401. You can ask the solution from Lucia and from the other classmates of yours who are correct. I will not anymore type it here because it's already time. And that is our lesson for today, class. Empirical and molecular formula. So always remember, in changing the given to an empirical formula, percent to mass, mass to mole, divide by small, multiply till whole. And if you have the empirical formula, find the mass of the empirical formula, divide the molar mass of the empirical formula to the given mass of the experiment, and then the quotient will be your multiplier to the subscript of your empirical formula to get your molecular formula. More of the examples will be discussed on Thursday when we are going to check your module. So see you on Thursday, everyone. Thank you for your attendance today and your participation. Remember, the 5 people, please remind me on Monday to add 2 points to your score in the summative test of this lesson. But of course, if you are going to be perfect, no need to add 2 points already, no? That would be all for today. Thank you and goodbye, grade 11, and Miggy for grade 12. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.